The G7 is nothing without U.S. leadership, and your personal leadership of the United States.
Mark Carney used government polling data to script his anti-American election plan for a campaign that promised to stand up for Canada. The Liberals sure dropped those elbows fast, didn't they? But let's rewind, because the details are going to infuriate you. Mark Carney's entire election pitch was built on a carefully crafted image of a prime minister ready to fight. Elbows up, he shouted. Even worse, he danced it. "We'll defend Canada from Trump," he said, and to the average disinterested voter worried about jobs, trade, sovereignty, plagued by media-induced Trump derangement syndrome, it all sounded so gutsy, patriotic, maybe even necessary. But here's the truth. It was fake from the start. It was a stage-managed production built on polling that you paid for and first exposed, unsurprisingly, by Blacklock's reporter. Let's talk about that federal taxpayer-funded research that the Liberals used to create the most cringeworthy campaign slogan in Canadian history. Elbows up.
There will always be a Canada. All right, elbows up. Elbows up.
Just days after Trump won the U.S. election on November 4th, the Prime Minister's office, through the Privy Council office, hired pollsters from the Strategic Council to run a $1.6 million contract gauging Canadians' fears about the new administration. These weren't ordinary public opinion surveys. These were confidential focus groups conducted from November 12th to 21st across 7 provinces. Now, what were they testing? Whether Canadians were scared of Trump, whether they feared tariffs, whether they believed massive job losses were looming, whether they support more military spending, tighter borders, and trade diversification, if wrapped in a flag and pitched as defending Canadian sovereignty. And guess what? The results said yes. The polling found Canadians viewed the U.S. relationship as challenging, tumultuous, and uncertain. Participants worried about mass layoffs in manufacturing. They feared rising consumer prices, and they didn't think the federal government was doing enough to protect Canadian interests. That research was quietly handed to Liberal political staffers on January 20th, the very same day the U.S. announced its 25% tariffs on Canadian goods. And suddenly, the government sprang into action. A border security announcement was dropped January 17th. New military spending was unveiled January 24th. And then, on cue, Trudeau emerged with a flag-waving sermon straight out of the polling binder. From the beaches of Normandy to the streets of Kandahar. Remember this?
From the beaches of Normandy to the mountains of the Korean Peninsula. From the fields of Flanders to the streets of Kandahar. We have fought and died alongside you. During your darkest hours, during the Iranian hostage crisis, those 444 days we worked around the clock from our embassy to get your innocent compatriots home. During the summer of 2005, when Hurricane Katrina ravaged your great city of New Orleans, or mere weeks ago, when we sent water bombers to tackle the wildfires in California. During the day the world stood still, September 11th, 2001, when we provided refuge to stranded passengers and planes, we were always there, standing with you, grieving with you, the American people.
Give me a break. Then came Mark Carney's campaign launch on March 23rd. And what was the central theme? Elbows up, border defense, trade toughness, standing up to Trump. Even the claim that Trump says Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us.
President Trump claims that Canada isn't a real country. He wants to break us so America can own us. We will not let that happen. We're over the shock of the betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons. We have to look out for ourselves. We have to look out for each other.
This wasn't a policy. It was a focus group tested slogan, parroted by a guy who spent most of his adult life in London and New York taking orders from the very same globalist institutions he's now claiming to protect your job from in Sarnia. But here's the part that should really make your blood boil. None of it was real. It was duplicitous and was based on polling that you paid for, not principle. Because as soon as Carney was sworn in, the so-called elbows up strategy was tossed aside like an old campaign sign. His first trip to the White House, grinning photo ops with Trump, no pushback on sovereignty, mutual back-patting. You'd think he was accepting an award, or rather giving one to Trump.
Thank you for your hospitality and above all for your leadership. You're a transformational president, focus on the economy with a relentless focus on the American worker, securing your borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl and other opioids, and securing the world. And I've been elected with my colleagues here, with the help of my colleagues here. I'm going to spread the credit to transform Canada with a similar focus on the economy, securing our borders, again on fentanyl. Much greater focus on defense and security, securing the Arctic and developing the Arctic. And the history of Canada and the U.S. is we're stronger when we work together, and there's many opportunities to work together. And I look forward to, addressing some of those issues that we have, but also finding those areas of mutual cooperation so we can move forward.
That's great. Very nice. Thank you very much. It's a very nice statement.
Then at the G7, while Trump was demanding higher defense spending and threatening new trade penalties, Carney nodded like a trained diplomat and praised Trump again for his global leadership. What happened to all that fight?
The G7 is nothing without U.S. leadership, and your personal leadership of the United States, many issues, geopolitics, economic, technology, and working hand in hand with the United States, Canada and the United States, and the other G7 partners with your leadership. I'm very much looking forward to the meeting and grateful to have you here.
Then let's not forget the digital services tax was framed by the freedom-hating liberals as a bold move to rein in big tech and show Washington that we meant business. But here's the truth. It was, of course, a terrible idea, as so many liberal ideas are. It would have driven up costs for Canadian consumers and triggered U.S. retaliation. It was a $7 billion tax grab at the end of the day. And when Trump so much as mentioned consequences, Carney folded like a soggy tent. Poof, tax gone, quietly shelved, no fight, no fanfare. Of course, elbows down.
We saw some challenges this week, even a suggestion that Canada has caved. Are you going to be able to get a deal done in time, Prime Minister?
We'll see. We're doing what's necessary in order to get the best deal for Canadians. And we get the best deal for Canadians, we'll agree to it. If we can't, we won't. I mean, it's that simple. We are making progress as a whole. And, look, what we did this week is something that I think we were going to do anyways in the end for the deal. But the other elements are coming together, need to fully come together. We'll work hard. Maybe not this afternoon, to be honest. We're not going to work. I'll be honest. Can I take the afternoon off after my remarks?
I don't get to decide that.
Not a great. Well, the Canadians get to decide. I'm working for all Canadians.
This tells you everything you need to know. The anti-American rhetoric was never real. It was cooked up in a polling memo designed to exploit Canadians' fears, win an election, and then be tossed aside the minute the Liberals got what they wanted. That $1.6 million in polling wasn't to inform policy. It was a script for a political drama, the one where you, the voter, were cast as the gullible extra, waving the flag while they took power and dropped the act. They stoked fears and then exploited them for electoral gain. Sounds like the COVID election, doesn't it? That's campaigning, I guess. It's cynical. But my problem is that they used federal polling data only they saw to do all of this. A $1.6 million campaign donation from you to the Liberals. Must be nice. The Liberals don't stand up for Canada. They stand on Canada, on your taxes, on your fears, and on your trust. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. Rebel News submits dozens of access to information filings every single week. Sometimes we hit gold. Sometimes we hit a duster, as they say in the oil patch. But we don't know if we don't look. To help offset our research and filing fees, please consider making a donation at rebelinvestigates.com.